Start with a provocative line that immediately captures attention. Not everyone who smiles at you is happy for you. Some are quietly rooting against your success. This jolts the audience into realizing jealousy can be hidden and dangerous. Hint at the value of the speech. In the next 60 music seconds, you'll learn 5 hidden behaviors that expose a jealous person music before they sabotage you. This builds anticipation and frames the upcoming content as essential. If this resonates, hit like music and comment yes if you've noticed these behaviors in someone you know. It's time we see jealousy for what it really is. This increases engagement without breaking the flow of the video. Imagine walking into a room and sharing exciting news about a personal achievement, maybe a promotion, a project you finished, or even just a milestone in your music life, and you notice something strange. Someone smiles at you, but it doesn't feel genuine. Their words sound like praise, music, yet there's a subtle sting hidden inside, a little jab wrapped in a compliment. Music. This is the hallmark of a backhanded compliment, one of the most insidious signs of jealousy. And it's deceptively powerful music because it disguises envy as encouragement. On the surface, a backhanded music compliment might appear harmless, even flattering, such as, "Wow, you look amazing for your age," or, "Music didn't expect you to pull that off. Good job." But the underlying message is music, not admiration. It's comparison, judgment, or a veiled attempt to diminish your success. Jealous people are experts at hiding their resentment behind socially acceptable behavior, and backhanded compliments are their preferred weapon because they allow the jealous person to express negative feelings without facing obvious music confrontation or social repercussions. The subtlety is what makes it dangerous. You might find yourself doubting your perception or feeling guilty for interpreting it as malicious, which is exactly what the envious person wants. They want you to second-guess yourself while they silently measure your accomplishments against their music-own insecurities. Over time, these comments, even if seemingly small or rare, accumulate like tiny cuts, slowly eroding confidence, planting seeds of self-doubt, and making you hyper-aware of how others react to your successes. Recognizing backhanded music compliments requires careful observation and emotional awareness. Notice the tone, music, the timing, and the context. Is the praise followed by a criticism or a subtle comparison? Does it make you feel good about your accomplishment or leave a strange lingering discomfort? These emotional cues are your music internal radar signaling that envy might be at play. A jealous person often uses this tactic to maintain control and subtly assert superiority, implying music that even your wins are subject to their judgment. It's not just words, it's a strategic maneuver rooted in insecurity and the desire to undermine your sense of achievement. Awareness is your first defense. When you learn to spot backhanded music compliments, you reclaim your power. You stop internalizing negativity that isn't yours and maintain your focus on your own growth. The more you notice these disguised digs, the less influence a jealous person can have over your emotional state. Greater than music greater than over time, you'll develop an instinct for distinguishing genuine praise from envy-laced comments, music enabling you to respond without defensiveness, without letting hidden jealousy affect your confidence, and without giving the envious person the satisfaction of impacting your emotional world. Backhanded compliments are subtle, often overlooked, and yet deeply revealing. Greater than music greater than. Exposing envy in the most socially acceptable disguise, and learning to detect them is the first step music in protecting yourself from the silent, corrosive power of jealousy. Subtle undermining is one of the most overlooked, yet powerful ways jealousy manifests, and it often goes unnoticed because it doesn't look like outright aggression. Unlike a backhanded compliment, which hides a jab inside words that appear positive, subtle undermining is about actions, tone, or phrasing that diminish your accomplishments, make your efforts seem less important, or music subtly question your competence. Imagine sharing a personal or professional success with someone, perhaps announcing a promotion, a completed project, or a creative achievement, greater than music greater than, and instead of celebrating with you, they respond with remarks like, "Well, it's not that impressive compared to what others have done." Or, "I guess it's fine, but it could have been better." If these statements are designed to erode your confidence, make music you second-guess your abilities, and plant seeds of doubt, all without appearing overtly hostile. A jealous person uses subtle undermining as a quiet music tool of control. They seek to make you feel insecure while maintaining the veneer of friendliness or concern, often leaving you questioning whether you're overreacting or misinterpreting their intentions. This behavior can take many music forms beyond verbal comments. They might disregard your ideas in meetings, give lukewarm or delayed praise, or redirect attention from your achievements toward themselves or someone they favor, making it seem casual or coincidental, but it's intentional. Subtle undermining is also evident in the way a jealous person frames feedback. Music, they might couch criticism in a supportive tone, claiming they are helping music or giving honest advice, when in reality, their goal is to diminish your confidence and make your progress feel less meaningful. Over time, repeated exposure to subtle undermining can erode self-esteem, increase self-doubt, and music make you hyper-aware of your successes, forcing you to seek validation or reassurance from others. Recognizing music, this behavior requires attentiveness and self-trust. You must distinguish music between constructive feedback and comments intended to belittle or diminish you. Pay attention to patterns rather than isolated incidents. If someone consistently minimizes your accomplishments, questions your competence unnecessarily, or shifts focus from your success to flaws, these are clear signs of jealousy at work. Greater than music, greater than the power of subtle undermining lies in its invisibility. It rarely sparks confrontation because it is wrapped in socially acceptable behaviors like advice, mild critique, or comparison. Yet, it achieves the opposite of supportive interaction. Greater than music, greater than awareness is the first line of defense. By identifying subtle undermining, you protect your confidence, set clear boundaries, and avoid internalizing negativity that isn't justified, ensuring that the jealous person's attempt to control or belittle you fails. Greater than music, greater than over time. Noticing and addressing these behaviors allows you to maintain emotional clarity, keep focus on your own achievements, and prevent music jealousy from quietly chipping away at your sense of self-worth, making subtle undermining a critical behavior music to recognize and guard against in any relationship. Excessive comparison is a behavior that often reveals jealousy more clearly than words alone because it exposes an inner struggle masked by outward interactions. A person who is excessively comparing music themselves to you is not just measuring achievements. They are measuring self-worth against yours, music. Constantly evaluating how they stack up in relation to your success, appearance, music, relationships, or status. This behavior can appear in subtle ways, like frequently asking about your accomplishments, commenting on your lifestyle, or making statements that link your successes to their own perceived shortcomings, such as, music, you got promoted already. I've been working twice as hard and nothing yet. Or, wow, your project turned out great. Mine never gets that kind of music recognition. While these comments may seem like casual observations, they are rooted in envy, music, and the desire to elevate themselves by implicitly diminishing your achievements. Excessive comparison is also often nonverbal. You might notice a tense expression, a forced smile, or a fleeting look of annoyance when you share good news, indicating that the other person is mentally measuring themselves against you and feeling inadequate in the process. This behavior is particularly insidious because it creates an environment of subtle competition and tension, music where your accomplishments unintentionally trigger insecurity or resentment in someone who feels they are falling behind, leading them to react in ways that can be subtly discouraging, dismissive, or even music passive-aggressive. Over time, constant exposure to someone who engages in excessive comparison can make you hyper-aware of how your actions are perceived, potentially causing you to second-guess your decisions or downplay your achievements to avoid triggering negative reactions. The key to recognizing this behavior lies in identifying patterns rather than isolated comments. A jealous person who engages in excessive comparison will consistently redirect conversations toward themselves, benchmark your successes against theirs, and display a persistent need to measure relative standing. Understanding this allows you to interpret their actions without internalizing their envy as a reflection of your worth. By maintaining awareness, you can interact without being manipulated emotionally, preserve your confidence, and avoid getting caught in the cycle of comparison that a jealous person tries to impose. Excessive comparison is ultimately less about you and more about their insecurity. Acknowledging this distinction protects your mental and emotional space, enabling you to celebrate your achievements freely, music, while remaining aware of someone else's silent envy. Recognizing excessive comparison early empowers you to set healthy boundaries, disengage from manipulative dynamics, and maintain a clear perspective on your own value, making this behavior a crucial signal to watch for when identifying hidden jealousy. Silent resentment is one of the most subtle, yet corrosive, signs of jealousy, and it is often the hardest to detect music because it manifests without words, hiding behind a veneer of civility or friendliness. Unlike overt criticism or backhanded compliments, silent resentment is expressed music through micro-expressions, body language, and tone. Small, nearly imperceptible cues that indicate dissatisfaction, music, envy, or irritation beneath a calm exterior. You might notice it when someone consistently avoids eye contact, gives a faint sigh when you succeed, maintains a stiff posture in your presence, or responds music to good news with a delayed, muted, or mechanical smile. These small actions may seem trivial on their own, but when observed over time, they reveal a pattern of covert hostility, signaling that the person is envious of your achievements, opportunities, music, or personal qualities. Silent resentment can also appear as consistent emotional withdrawal, music where the jealous person distances themselves socially, stops initiating contact, or subtly excludes you from conversations or activities, all while pretending everything, music, is normal. This form of jealousy is dangerous because it creates a constant undercurrent of tension, music, and unease, leaving you questioning your perception and wondering if you are imagining hostility that isn't really there. The jealous person often uses silent resentment to maintain music, a sense of control or superiority without overtly confronting you, because open confrontation could expose their envy. Instead, they let their discontent, music, simmer beneath the surface, hoping it will subtly undermine your confidence or make you feel guilty for enjoying success. Greater than music greater than recognizing silent resentment requires a heightened sensitivity to behavioral patterns and emotional cues. Observing not just what is said, but what is not said, and how their presence affects your own feelings. Do you feel lighter and supported around this person, or do you leave interactions feeling small, unseen, or subtly attacked? Music, those feelings are often the most reliable indicators of jealousy expressed music through silent resentment. Understanding this behavior also means realizing that their envy is not about you personally. It is about their insecurities and their inability to celebrate someone else's success, music, without feeling diminished. By becoming aware of these subtle signs, you can protect your emotional space, maintain confidence,